Welcome back to another UNC Tar Heels football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're watching us on our extremely fast-growing YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting and jack of all trades, Miss Deana King. And Deana, we have not done a football recruiting podcast in a while because nobody has committed in a while, but the Tar Heels have flipped another kid from East Carolina, three-star linebacker Michael Short, 6'3", 210 pounds, from Mallard Creek High School in Charlotte. He's a 5.6 rating. I'll give you guys a few examples of some current Tar Heels who were in that rating range in a few minutes. He committed to ECU in June, but he was recently offered by Carolina. He's been in Chapel Hill. And I think that was an obvious thing that he saw with this current UNC team that made him think, you know what, I want to be the next that guy. Fill us in on who that guy is and what Michael Short's thinking.
Well, the staff has really showed him the progression of Cedric Gray, who is also from the Charlotte area. He's from Audrey Cale. But Coach Tommy Thigpen, linebacker coach, he just targeted Michael. There's always some kids that have that special senior season, and Michael is one of those. He plays in one of the toughest conferences in the state, plays on a team that is so successful on getting kids to the next level in Mallard Creek. You got Mallard Creek in that conference. You got Chambers. You got Huff. There's oozing with D1 kids each and every year. So he was the conference defensive player of the year, had a really breakout senior year. And Coach Thigpen, he kept, that's his area, Charlotte area is Coach Thigpen's area, recruiting area. And, he locked down on him and targeted him and got him on campus. He came up for the NC State game, later took an official visit to UNC and decided that he wanted to become a Tar Heel.
So the Cedric Gray thing is interesting because Cedric was initially recruited as a wide receiver around the country, but a lot of people saw him as a linebacker. Some similar specs to Michael Short. I think there are a lot of similarities here. One thing I find interesting is Short is a 5.6 rating. Cedric Gray was a 5.5. And look at North Carolina's defense. Who's the best player in Carolina's defense? It's Cedric Gray. Who's the Carolina player that is currently getting information from the NFL to help him make a decision about whether he stays or goes? Cedric Gray. I think Cedric is an NFL player, and it's just another example. We see it all the time, and quite frankly, we've seen it with this defense. It's those three-star guys. It's the 5.5s and the 5.6s. Kamen Rucker was a 5.6. There wasn't a lot of fanfare when he committed because that was during a time they were getting a bunch of 4s and even a 5. And look at Rucker, look at Gray, look at some of the other guys. So fans need to get off that star rating and all that kind of junk train because it doesn't really mean a whole lot. The reason I'm using this information is because I'm giving people examples of just that. So this kid is a 5.6, someone who is ascending, and his game is developed. And then you look at how Tommy Thigpen has developed linebackers at Carolina. If there's one position group on that defense in which player development does not appear to be an issue, it is clearly linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a really good job. You can go back to Chaz Surratt, switching over from quarterback to linebacker and becoming an all-ACC linebacker and a third-round draft pick in the NFL draft. And you're seeing Cedric growing. He had some growing pains last year playing alongside Gimmel, but he's took over this leadership role for the defense, and so they're really they preach that to Michael, saying that they want him to possibly follow in that footprint there.
A couple of the things that make Cedric a fantastic player and a phenomenal spokesman for the defense, and I think a really good leader, is that there's a drive there. It's funny because you see these kids come in each class, whether it's football or basketball, and the ones that have this amazing drive and also have IQ for the sport are the ones that blossom and flourish. And Cedric just combines that. He checks so many boxes. And it's funny, if you were to re-rank his class now, he would be like a 4.5 star. You know what I mean? And some of the other guys that were higher stars would not be there because you can't gauge some of those intangibles at a 3-hour camp in May or watching high school film sometimes. And what you've been telling me for a couple of weeks about Michael Short now is there is a belief from those that know him is he's got a lot of those Cedric qualities physically and otherwise.
Yeah, and a lot of folks I've seen comments, oh, another East Carolina decommit. But you know what? East Carolina has recruited some really good players, and Ty Adams and Aiden Duncanson are two of those that also flipped from East Carolina to North Carolina. But there's some talent. Those two were from Georgia, so 3 stars in Georgia we've seen are really, really good. You mentioned Kamen Rucker. Look how well Will Hardy has done. He was a 3-star as well.
Marcus Allen.
So, yeah, Marcus Allen. So, it's a weird thing, it's no exact science. There's kids that are highly ranked, 5 stars in the portal right now. So it's not exact science.
Yeah, and any Carolina fans that are dumping on ECU need to pump the brakes on that because as far as I can recall, ECU's won 3 straight against the Tar Heels, and they've scored around 160 points in those games. So ECU has destroyed Carolina in their last 3 meetings. So I think Carolina fans should be pleased to get a kid that this staff deems worthy of playing at North Carolina and a kid, again, like you just said, and I think that's actually a great point, the hunger. Listen to Kamen Rucker interviews. There's a hunger there. He's out to prove people wrong. He's undersized. He can't do this. He can't do that. 3-star kids from Georgia and even 3-star kids at times from the Charlotte area, they're often not first-team all-conference kids. Now, Short was, which tells me that maybe he's not finished with the star stuff. If he's an all-conference defensive player of the year, but a lot of those kids are second-team all-conference because there's so many 4s and 5s around. And so you have a stud who's got a chip on his shoulder. And that translates to the college level. And a guy like Short, who is ascending now, may also have that. So I think that Carolina fans need to understand a little bit of the alterations that Mac has made in his recruiting approach because he doesn't want to lose kids to the portal. And let's face it, they don't want to deal with kids who feel like they are entitled. And some of these kids are entitled. So you get a kid like Short in there, he doesn't check any of those negative boxes. So the kid's going to come in and work and play hard. And again, if the prototype is Cedric Gray and he turns into something like Cedric Gray, then this is a hell of a pickup.
A few other schools have started to got involved with Short as well. Wake Forest was another school that really thought that highly of him as well. So I think it's a good pickup for North Carolina to get, ever since, you've basically started at TH. I told you Mallard Creek.
Yeah.
Coaches need to camp out there. They're in Charlotte. They're in that area. It's so much talent there, and surprising that the Charlotte 49ers are not better because they need to recruit that area. There's a wealth of talent there.
Shouldn't there be a spot on the staff for a guy like Marquise Williams? Because if they had Marquise, who went to Mallard Creek, and he was a guy that just hung out around those schools, I think that Carolina would do even better recruiting that area. I would love to see guys like Marquise.
Oh, yeah, Marquise is one of my favorites.
I think the staff needs an infusion of guys like that. And personally, Marquise is like the perfect face of whatever you want him to be.
He's young, he's energetic, got a great personality, and he loves his Tar Heels. You know, he's been putting out some good tweets the past couple of weeks. So, but that's our plug for trying to get Marquise a job.
And Ryan Switzer, right?
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be perfect faces of the program. So Michael Short, who attends Mallard Creek High School, Marquise's alma mater. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, a 3-star linebacker, previously committed to East Carolina. Now he's committed to North Carolina. She's Deana King. I'm Andrew Jones. Make sure you like this video and share it with all your friends who care about Carolina recruiting. And don't forget, for just $8.33 a month, you can be a Tar Heel insider too. Thanks for stopping by.